Somalia, a country rich in cultural diversity and traditions, continues to be devastated by war, famine, and oppression. Located in the Horn of Africa, Somalia consists of a blend of Middle, Eastern, and African cultures based on its unique location between these dominant regions. Somalia is home to many clans and ethnic groups, including the Somalian Bantu, Darod, Arom, and Benadir. Islam is the predominating faith practiced in Somalia, although other Somalian minorities practice their local faith.
Somalia has been a land of constant conflict as the British and Italian governments seized control of the area. This Italian colonization furthered persecution of the Somali Bantu as ethnic tensions increased. The Somali Bantu were viewed as inferior foreigners ever since their enslavement in the 19th century. In 1949, British colonization of Italian Somalia ended, and the area became known as a UN Trust territory. However, Somalia did not officially gain independence until 1960, when the area was merged to form the Somali Republic. In 1969, President Abdirashid Ali Sharmarke was assassinated as a result of clan tensions and animosity. During the political chaos, the Army General Mohammed Siad Barre quickly assumed power and was later appointed president. This marked the beginning of a dictatorship that would span 2 decades.
Until the 1980s, Barre led a socialist regime heavily influenced by the nation's relationship with the USSR as allies. But after the land disputes with Ethiopia, Barre allied himself with the United States. Their alliance with the U.S. during the Cold War provided Somalia with significant military aid in exchange for American-established military bases in their country. Somalia's military aid enriched Barre's political agenda and allowed him to continue his dictatorial regime. The militarization of Somalia caused the country to become weaponized, thus created clan-based economic inequality.
After Barre's regime ended, 2 opposing war clan leaders, Mohammed Farah Aidid, military general and leader, and Ali Mahdi Mohammed, political leader, fought for control of Somalia. In the early 1990s, this conflict led to the Somali Civil War, which caused hundreds of thousands of Somali casualties. The Civil War drove villagers out of their homes, displacing 45% of the Somalians, as they fled to neighboring countries to escape persecution and bloodshed.
At the beginning of August of 1992, the U.S. began their operations to aid victims of the Somali Civil War. But soon after, the U.S. left their operations and the United Nations took over to aid the Somali people and refugees in May of 1993. After the United Nations took over in 1993, the refugees from southern Somalia fled to the closest refugee camp in Liboy, Kenya. This Somalian refugee crisis carried out into the 21st century. As of 2002, 12,000 Somali Bantus were forced to the Kakuma refugee camp in northwestern Kenya to be interviewed by the U.S. Immigration and Naturalization Services. Currently, the International Rescue Committee teams and partners reach 280,000 in Somalia and project reach 620,000 people by 2020.
The refugee crisis in Somalia is not unique to this country, as it is an issue that takes place around the world. We must take international responsibility for these refugees and protect those escaping violence and persecution globally.